Hey, welcome back to Chicago Motor Cars, Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire. Hey, we're going to take a look at a 2004 Mercedes Benz SL600 two-door convertible, VIN number ending in 1045. Now, as we look at this car, you're going to notice that this video is going to be totally different than any other video we've done. And the reason why? This is the very car that started this mission that I have against Chicago Motor Cars. So let's get right to work. I want to tell you about this car. Chicago Motor Cars has this car back up for sale on their website for $43,800. Now the page you're looking at right now is the page that I looked at when I originally purchased the car. When I purchased the car, it had 23,000 miles on it. As you can tell by the very first caption, it says 2004 Mercedes Benz SL600 AMG. Now that was important to me. But when I received the car, and the car was delivered to me one night on a flatbed trailer, I quickly realized that this car was not an AMG. So Chicago Motor Cars falsely advertised the car to me, and I didn't catch it until the car was delivered. They also advertised that the car had keyless go. That never worked. They advertised that the car had keyless start. That never worked. Power hardtop. The hardtop would only go up and down if you manually got out of the car and readjusted the seal flaps to reset the sensors so that the top would complete its travel either up or down. Down at the bottom here, it said that the car had 2 remote master keys. That wasn't accurate. It only had 1 set of keys, and they were never the master keys because none of the functions on those keys ever worked all the features on the car. Chicago Motor Cars had this car for sale at the time for $43,800. Same thing they have it for sale today. I eventually paid $37,500 for the car. Taking a look at today's listing on this call, you'll quickly notice that the word AMG has been removed. So they somewhat corrected their problems. Still says keyless go and keyless start, but I would lay odds that those things still aren't fixed. I would also lay odds that the powered hardtop is not fixed, and I would lay odds that it still only has 1 set of keys. If you notice now, they list the car at 29,000 miles. That's what the car had when I turned it back in. They have this car up for sale on eBay, and obviously it never sold. It had 3 offers on it, but I'm trusting and hoping that these 3 people interested in this car will take a close look at my video and realize they need to stay away from this car, and especially Chicago Motor Cars. Let's take a little look at some of the information that I gathered while the car was in my possession. This car had a mind of its own. There was a lot of problems with this car, and one of the problems with this car is the dashboard would go on its own little tangent and do whatever it wants. Take a look at this video as I describe what it is. As you can clearly see, the car is driving down the road. The odometer and the tach will bounce in and out. The hazard lights, emergency lights, different warning lights on the dashboard would come on and off. Different functions would read an error. low voltage to the battery. If you look at the gas gauge, read 0. This car had some serious problems. One of the problems that I found out about this car is when it was shipped to me, it was shipped with bald tires. And it was shipped with tires that had chunks taken out of it. Now this is no way that a high-end car dealership should ever ship out an SL600. But when I went to take it in to get the tires replaced, it didn't take my new dealership too long to figure out that the front driver rim had a huge crack in it. Now this is a huge safety feature. And Chicago Motor Cars doing their safety check should have caught this right away. Now during the course of the 4 months that I had this car, I was never supplied the title. And I wonder why. Maybe this has something to do with it. The previous owner of this car is George Janelius out of Chicago, Illinois. Now I never could figure out if maybe the reason why I never got the title is because the car should have never been sold. You see, George Janelius is currently being sued by the feds for a $140 million loss through a bank that he used to own. That's right, the previous owner is being sued by the federal government because he played games and laundered out money through bogus loans that should have never been honored. So whether or not if that was the reason why we never seen the title, I'm not sure. But the end result is we were never issued a title for this particular car. As you can see in this PDF, I just want to point out, this was a PDF created by Chicago Motor Cars. It's where they're advertising that car again. Advertising it right there. 29,614 miles. I'll show you that they're still up to their same old games. Same old misleading you. Never being legit or honest about the car. As you can see right here, it clearly shows they're trying to sell a 2004 Mercedes Benz SL600 AMG. Like I told you, this car is not an AMG. It was falsely advertised. And it just goes on and on. Now, when I had the car in my possession, there were some things that I quickly realized was wrong with the car. Took it to a body shop of mine that I take all my vehicles to. And he quickly showed me that Chicago Motor Cars and Parin Shah was never honest with the condition of the car. Parin Shah told me that the car had never been painted or had any body work done to it. That was quickly misleading. The car had been hit on the front passenger bumper. There was damage on that was located on the front driver quarter panel. There was damage found on the rear driver quarter panel. A lot of Bondo work there, poor paint job, didn't really sand out the Bondo. You can clearly see the Bondo marks. There was damage found on the rear trunk lid. If you open up the trunk lid, look at the chrome components in there, you can find that there's a lot of overspray in there. If you look at the alignment of the exhaust, you'll quickly realize that on the driver's side, the exhaust is way out of whack, clearly showing this car has undergone some damage and somebody's tried to botch it back together and repair it. Another classic case, Chicago Motor Cars, Parin Shah, not being honest with the cars that they sell And this is what put them in the boat that they're in now. I am on a mission to expose this dealership for all the crookedness they do, and will continue to expose them. Chicago Motor Cars, Prince Shah, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, misleading people on the cars that you have on your lot.